Hussein, it was you actually who sent me the photograph of your school, the lesson that you'd done on respiration, right? You definitely do not need to know details like PFK. Hello to everyone on YouTube, by the way. Sorry, I'm just started my live class. I'm just going to stream to YouTube. If you are watching this live, or the reminder or the recording, then basically you can join the live stream if you're with us live with the link that I'm about to paste in the chat. It's the wrong one. This is the right one. Okay, so if you want to join us in the Zoom room, which is where I'll be answering your questions, then you can do that with the link just there. And if you would like to, if you're wondering what I'm doing with when I'm talking about the free stuff that you can use, it's there. So feel free to join me in there. I'm not going to be paying a huge amount of attention to YouTube at all because I'm going to be focused on my class who are in my Zoom room. Okay, so just catching up on that, Hussein, the benefits, the content guide is so nice and condensed. The way you explain the content is easy to understand. Okay, sometimes your school teacher teaches you extra things like the process of respiration, taught you the whole process of respiration and glycolysis, and you get confused. The details that your teacher was going into were not, you do OCR, is it Hussein? Am I right with that? Or is it AQA? Yeah, OCR. Okay, so yeah, that OCR go the most detail. You might get the odd multiple choice question that goes into a crazy amount of detail, but that's going to be 1 mark out of all 3 papers. You can't learn everything in enough detail. In my opinion, you can't learn everything in enough detail to get every single mark on every single multiple choice question. There'll be a multiple choice question. There's like, I don't know, my first class degree in biology and 10 years teaching experience doesn't teach. I don't know. I don't know which multiple choice question what they're expecting you to learn. If they want you to learn the entire course to the level of detail that some of their questions go into, then it is basically impossible in 2 years. Okay, so I'm going to share my iPad now. I'm just going to show you a bit of an overview to today's session. So some of you were in the previous session. This is going to look a bit the same. I promise I'll sort of go into a few other little bits and pieces of detail. Hussein asked me about the math skills and how the best way to learn the math skills are for A-level biology. It's a skill. There's a little bit of a clue in that you can practice and practice and practice. I'm sure lots of you. Are you getting a black screen right now, or are you getting, can you see my iPad? Okay, I think it's just slowly coming online. Okay, so we've got about A-level biology, got about the TT courses, how to study A-level biology, and I'll take questions at the end, and I'll leave a bit more time for questions because I'm sure some of you are going to have some for sure. Okay, so just going back to the chat here, I'm going to spend most of the time just talking to you. I'm going to take some notes on my iPad as well, so I'll share that with you as and when the time comes. But that's just a little overview here. I'm actually going to take that off the screen for the time being. I'm going to see if you guys are as good as the year 12 students. What percentage of the A-level biology exam is factual recall? What percentage of the exam is like A01? Decker in there with a third, 30%, 33%, 40%. Oh, Svenja, is that the pronounce? What do you want me to call you, Svenja? Shima says 50. We've got 30 to 50% for the A-level papers. No matter what exam board, it's going to be 30 to 35%, about a third. My next question to you, I'm going to go a bit faster in this session. My next question to you is, how much time in school or college do you spend learning the content? My next question. What proportion? Think back to maybe, yeah, okay, so how much of your time so far have you spent in a week? What proportion, what percentage of the time? Okay, maybe think back to your GCSEs because you've completed those. Like, of the 2 years you studied for GCSE biology, what proportion did you learn the content? 85% from chat. 80. 95. Okay, so you're spending 90% of your time learning 30% of the course, which means you're spending 10 to 20% of your time learning 2/3 of the course. Like, this is pretty crazy to me. Basically, the model that I've chosen for is that I teach you the exam technique as I'm teaching you the content. So I've designed my course so that this here is the traditional teaching method of this is the AS year, the first year, and you do a little bit of exam stuff at the end. Then you have all of the second year, and most students come to this, and most teachers will come to this after Easter, probably actually at the beginning of May. This is the traditional method. What I have done is that I teach both the content and the exam technique simultaneously from the start, because one goes hand in hand with the other. Yes, you do have to learn the content before you can apply the content. That is logical. You can't do application questions on a topic that you don't know. However, you can learn a topic and then do exam technique, learn a topic and then do exam technique. These are skills that you've got to learn over time. You simply can't do this in a week. Yes, people have used the content guide to go up a grade in May half term by smashing through the content, but you simply, it's just too much information. Leaving 2/3 of the exam to the last week of the year, the last week before your exams, is like, you don't need me to tell you that's crazy, right? So what I'm going to be doing my live classes throughout the year is taking responsibility for you covering the content so that you complete the content at a sensible time. So my next question to you is, when is a sensible time to complete? When would you like to complete the content, learning the AO1 factual recall content of the course? What would be optimal, do you think? When in year 13? I'm so happy that you're saying these things to me in the chat. I mean, YouTube, you won't be able to see this. Answers are March, January, February, end of February, March, April. All of those I would take as okay. We're going to finish our live class series on teaching you the content. The live classes will continue all the way up until exams, but the ones that we're going to focus on making sure you've covered the content of the course, and we're going to be doing exam technique as well, it will happen in March. So February half term, March half term, because you need months to practice the skills and to join it all up and to make it make sense in your head. Okay, so what would you think? Again, throwing this question out to you, what do you think is the biggest what are some of the biggest mistakes made by A-level students? I'm going to let you sit on that for just a minute. Not focusing on exam technique, Katie, totally agree. Yeah, cramming in revision. Well, there's no damage to cramming, but the damage is you're presumably cramming because you haven't done it in advance. So yeah, leaving only cramming and not cramming on top of sensible sort of revision. Finishing the content late. Basically, these are all pretty much linked together. Silly mistakes in the exam, not reading the questions properly. Okay, so yeah, so definitely exam techniques. You'll find out after making 100 silly mistakes, they're not that silly anymore. But I totally get what you mean. I'm not rebuking you for that. Yeah, totally correct. Not reflecting on previous mistakes. I think that's a really good one. Not very obvious. Students will do exams. Let's say it's May. People are doing exams. You're doing like a couple of week past papers, but you do a past paper, you mark it, you get, I got 71%, great, move on, do another paper. What was the 29% of marks you didn't get right? Maybe just maybe you should be focusing on the 29% of the paper you got wrong. And that's your area of focus. And you keep working on those areas until you get that up to 80, 85% or whatever your targets are. And then you do another paper. But just doing a paper and then doing another paper, then doing another paper, if you're not taking the time to actively learn the things that you got wrong, reflecting on your mistakes, you are not going to see any improvement. So that's why we use the TT method. We'll do more about that at a future time. If there's questions about the TT method or how to use past papers for exam prep, then ask me towards the end. Not understanding what examiners want in questions, understanding the question 100%. These are all things that I have deliberately built into the course. Not understanding the mark scheme. Your problem is the mark schemes mark scheme answers sometimes feel like it doesn't answer the question. 100%. I wonder if it's currently stuck to my other filming station because I'm filming. I haven't finished the paper yet. There's a question in the AQA specimen AS paper 1. The mark scheme is, I don't know if it's just that they changed the question and they didn't change the mark scheme. The mark scheme does not answer the question that they have set in the specimen paper. The specimen papers are weird. They don't get the same scrutiny. They don't get checked by as many people as much as they should. The formatting's a bit weird sometimes. Like, it's a specimen paper, so I'm not gonna send it back to AQA. I have done that with one of the set 2 specimen paper. There's a calculation mistake in the mark scheme. I send them, they never do anything about it. They never update the specimen papers. So I've just given up trying to contact them about mistakes in the mark schemes. Yeah, I totally get what you mean. But that basically, we have to learn how to play the game of A-level biology. It is a game, whether you enjoy it or not. There are hoops that you have to jump through, and you've got to learn to jump through those hoops. Sadly, whether we like it or not, I can show you the best ways and the fastest ways of doing that if you follow me and my advice. Is it too late to start now? Of course it's not, Hussein. No, by starting at the beginning of year 13, you're set. It's too late. When is it too late to use TT? After May half term. I mean, students will go up a grade from May half term onwards, but that is the cram. That is like trying to overload your brain with information that mostly going to benefit students who don't know the content very well. There's learning content you can cram. Learning skills, like you can't learn to drive overnight. You can't learn to drive pass your driving test because it's a skill, right? You can learn the theory. You could stay up all night, cram it, get the facts in your head. You can cram facts. You can't cram skills. That's why it's so important that you don't have to use tailored tutors for this, obviously. We're just going to make it much easier. But it is really important that you are adopting an approach that's much more like this than just like learn the content, assume my teacher is going to like prepare me very well for the exam and I'll just do what they want and follow their advice. And then you'll find, oh, it's actually too late. So that is the main thing to avoid, is just following your teacher blindly. In fact, I did this slide right at the very end of my AS class, but this is, what's this? What do we call this type of graph? This kind of data spread? Bell-shaped curve, normal distribution. Okay, it's fine. This applies to height, applies to weight, although we are skewing that in the Western world by not eating a great diet, but it's normal distribution, basic A-level biology. But this also applies to teacher quality. Half of your teachers, or 49% of your teachers, will be above average and great. Some of them will be exceptional teachers, like up here on the very top 2% in the country. The other 49+% of you are going to have a less than average good teacher. And for those of you in this bracket, you shouldn't be penalized for having poor teachers or teachers that don't match your learning style. It's not necessarily they're bad. It may be that they're very wordy and academic, you're very visual and it doesn't match up for you. But whatever, like this, you students here, it's unfair that you shouldn't be able to get the grades that you deserve because you've got a poor teacher. You don't get to choose your teacher, which is why it's really important you take responsibility. For everybody here will get better grades if you take responsibility for your learning to say that I am going to finish the content regardless of what my school or college do by February, March, before April. And if you do that, then you've got at least 3 months to practice the exam technique. And the reason why that's so important is because when you're learning these things, you learn carbohydrates as this jigsaw piece puzzle here. You learn then the bolt-on, the lipids and how that affects. Then obviously you expand into the proteins and the DNA, and eventually you get all of the biological molecules in a nice little family, and you've got your little biological molecules brain, and you've learned all the facts, and you've got all your stuff here. And then, you do another topic, and your magnifying glass goes from this little bit of the page, and you just then start looking at this bit of the page over here, and you learn these things in isolation, because you can't handle the bigger picture, because you haven't created the map in which to put the information on yet. So you come over here, and in year 13, you're going to do control of gene expression. You learn all about this little bit over here. But what you don't get is the bigger picture, and putting it all together, linking topics, using your exam technique that you learn takes time. You can't learn it in a week. There has to be, and the connection between these things is something you're going to have to practice. And it's something that I can show you in my courses. I'm going to show you a little bit about how I've designed the course to basically tackle all of these problems, to make the A-level biology journey as pain-free as it can be. But I'm not going to lie to you. It is difficult. It is time-consuming. It requires your effort, because there's nothing I can do to take my knowledge in my brain and put it in your brain. You have to do the work yourself. Nobody else. I could sit down with you as a one-to-one tutor for 5 hours a week, and we could painstakingly go through every single one of my videos and take notes. You could ask me, well, but I cannot put the information in your head. You're going to have to be present and be focused and apply that, so that, and if you don't get it, you're going to have to come back and redo it again. That is the end. That is the sad truth of it. Okay, so Hussein will answer respiration questions at the end. I'm going to go through just how to apply what we've done here at Tailored Tutors so that you can avoid making these mistakes, basically. Do I offer Edexcel B? I don't currently do the Edexcel B spec. There's only a few thousand students in the country that do it. Okay. Jahat, just to let you know, you're just sending messages to me. If you can change your settings to panelists and attendees in Zoom, then everyone else will be able to see. Is the syndicate ready? I'll come on to the syndicate in a minute. If you are watching on YouTube and you want to join me in my Zoom room, then you can jump in there, and you can join me and I'll answer your questions when you get around to that, because this is one of my end of my starting year 13 live classes. Okay, what next? I want to know, okay, have you used the content guide, the exam guide, or both for each of you? Oh, as I drop my Apple Pencil, which of the guides from Tailored Tutors have you used? Or neither? Content guide, exam guide, both, or neither are your options. The ultimate guide, so that's both. The ultimate guide is the exam guide and the content guide together. Shaima's used neither, only the content guide. Rick Hill has just used the content guide so far. So Decca and Shaima, you're using the starting year 13 course, I'm assuming, therefore, because you're in my live class in the Zoom room and you've registered. So I'll just show you just quickly, if you want to, if you want to use the full Tailored Tutors course for a month, basically we're giving you an extended trial of the full courses. On the website here, tailoredtutors.com/free-trial, you can, all the information is on this page, but any one of our courses for any subject, you can use the coupon TryTT free at the checkout. You are starting a subscription. You will need your card details. It won't charge you anything for the first month. You can unsubscribe at any point in the first month. If you don't want to continue paying for it, that's totally fine, but you get full access to all of the courses. So that's the URL. Go and do that, and you can try the ultimate guide for your subjects and see how it works out for you. How much independent study would you recommend using the exam guide, content guide? Totally depends to some extent. I would say, I mean, if you are using, people use TT for homeschooling. And obviously, if you are not going to school and you're not going to college, then it's going to be a different answer to if you're using it alongside your mainstream education. I'm actually going to cover that now, Amina. Okay, so what is the difference between the content guide and the exam guide? And I'm going to ask how you use it and answer your question, Amina, in a minute. So what is the difference between the content guide and the exam guide? I'm just interested to see where you come up with this. I'm going to put some notes down as you throw them to me in the chat. Alina is homeschooled, and that's all you use. How well do you think it prepares you, Alina? Are you happy? Content guide. So this is exactly that. This is learning the content, hence the name. We renamed the course this year because we wanted to make it more obvious. The exam guide is application, which is basically exam technique. Now, remember, I blend my learning. So my content guide lessons cover exam technique all the time. When you get questions on this topic, they're most likely to ask this type of question in this style. So this is how you answer it. There's a lot of that in there. There's a lot of overlap between the two, but these are the basic differences. Okay, they're both going to include, actually, they're both going to have the live, if I could, this year, they both include the live classes. Doesn't matter whether you sign up from the content guide or the exam guide. And these are weekly. And there's an AS class and an A-level class. So there's 2 classes a week, actually. We do free subscriptions for schools. Yeah, it's called our Brainier program. So get your teacher to come to the Tailored Tutors website. In the menu, it says about and then Brainier school program. So it's in the menu. Your teacher can apply. It doesn't cost anything to the school. We ask for a voluntary donation from the school or from the students or both at the end of the year to fund the scholarships we give away and the educational charities that we support. We don't pocket that money. The donation, if you found it valuable, is there for you to basically, to make a donation. That could be £1, could be €0, could be 50 quid, whatever's up to you. Okay. What else have we got here? Yeah, so this applies to the free coupon applies to the biology, the chemistry, and the maths. If you want all 3 of them, I'd obviously recommend getting the combo that does them all together. It's just going to make your courses way more organized. Okay, that is the essential things. I'm going to show you inside now, and I'm going to just show you what the content guide effectively looks like. Who was it asking about? This is the Brainier page. It's here. You'll find it in the menu on the website. Your teacher's got to apply for it. You can't apply as a student because we want the schools to integrate this into your classroom teaching, not just for individual students to do ad hoc. It needs to be integrated into the classroom. So speak to your teacher about that. Okay, so this is the content guide. Who's seen the new shiny buttons inside the content guide? These are new. I added them, or we added them pretty recently. What do you think? Is it useful? Does it help your navigation around the site? In fact, I've got a poll question for you. Let me launch this poll. I don't know if I can do that whilst I'm sharing my screen. I don't think I can. Okay, so this will take you to the course overview page. It will show you the entire A-level or AS level. I'm enrolled as an A-level student, which means I can see all of the A-level topics. If you are a year 13 student, you do not need to buy the year 12 course, the year 1 course. The year 13 course includes all of the year 12 content. It's so yeah, we've had some students buying both recently, so you don't need to do that. So you're going to get the lesson. Typically, it's going to be 6 to 8 minutes. This one is like exactly 6 minutes. It just happens to work out that way. Below each video, you've got the notes template. Ruhab, I will answer your question, but I can't jump away from topics each time. I have seen it. I'll come back to you. Okay, so below each video, you've got the notes template. Or what you can do now, if this is in the AQA course, it's going to be enrolled in all the other courses soon. You can go to the topic overview page. So we're in the carbohydrates and lipids section here. So this will take me to the overview page for all of the carbohydrates and lipids. And this notes template here is all of the notes templates that relate to these videos, which is like these ones. So this would be the carbohydrates and lipids notes templates pack. So who uses the template notes? Who's been using these? What are the benefits of using them? Anyone giving me the benefits of using them? Because if you're using these, you're going to have like super nicely organized, the layout and the color scheme, really important. There's like 3 hours planning, more or less, goes into every one of those 10-minute lessons. And the layout and the color scheme and the words that I've chosen to put on the page have been very carefully thought through. So if you copy the layout, at the end of the year, what you're going to have is you're going to have your own textbook. You're going to have your own handwritten, color-coded set of notes that concisely cover the course way better than your textbook does. And how powerful is that you have created this yourself? Now, I don't need to ask you what's more memorable, notes that you've made yourself or notes that somebody else has written and printed in a book. Yeah, just a note from Travis there. If you've so Katie, you're just set to panelists only. Svenja, you're set to panelists only. So when you're sending those comments, only I can see them. So everyone else can't see them in the thread. So if you can just change that to panelists and attendees. Okay, what's next? I'm going to share my iPad screen, I think, next, and we'll go through okay, question to you first. How do you use the content guide? Those of you that have used it, I'm just going to take a quick check at the YouTube chat. Okay, where can you find topic-specific questions? The answer to that is coming up. How long before starting past papers? Before the exam? I'm going to cover that. Yeah, I think. Okay, so answers in the Zoom chat are watch the videos and watch it again, pause and write notes from Raseb. Pre-reading before the lesson from Amina. Watch the videos and then I write it all down from Alina, not Amina. Rikhil, watch the video, don't write anything, then watch it again and write. Question mark. I'm asking at this point how you do use it. I'm going to give you my suggestions on how to use it, but that's pretty much spot on. Watch the video once, then watch it again and make notes. Perfect. Watch the video, don't write anything, watch again and write. Okay, so basically that is really good. And before your lesson or after your lesson is my next question. But my suggestion for the most effective way of using this is to watch the lesson and not write notes, giving it your full attention. I harped on about this in my AS session, but if you try and write notes whilst the video is playing, then you're splitting your attention between what the video is saying and what the and what you're trying to write down, basically. And that is not good for learning. Yes, you can pause it. I would always recommend, if you're writing, the video is paused. General blanket rule, if you're writing, the video is paused. In an ideal world, then you would watch the video with no notes and full focus. That's what that's supposed to say. Watch it again, and then use the notes template, pausing it as you go to write paused when writing. So you're then basically you're gonna like fill in those template notes. You're gonna use the color system, and you're gonna have a perfect set of notes at the end of that. If you feel like I've said something that I haven't written down, by all means, annotate your page. How many people add extra annotations from the words that I've said, or from the textbook, or from your class notes? Rasa condenses it. Okay. Super nice. And then if you can, I would watch it in advance of the lesson that you do at school or college in an ideal world, because I am going to probably explain it. I don't know. How do you feel I explain topics? I don't want to put words in your mouth. How do you feel I explain topics compared to your classroom teacher? I'm just going to put that out there to those students who've been using me, and obviously you've had a couple of years of it's just what you need to know. You did that for the productivity, and then you had the class today. Okay, so my next question, it was so much better and so much more condensed. Okay, so if you have watched videos before your class, how much more value do you get from your class, your school or college class, if you've watched my content 10-minute video beforehand? Thanks, Jack on. You get way better because you know what the lesson was going to focus on. This is all about, the learning theory behind this is complex, but it's about creating a storage place for the information. So I don't know if I'm going to do this very well. When you first come across a topic, you basically don't have any frame of reference. You don't have anything to pin the information onto. So if we imagine like a storage box, I don't know, like this, that's got multiple compartments in it. Like, I'm making this up as I go along as an analogy. I've never done it before. But when you've literally not done this at all, you don't have anywhere to put the information. Once you've done like an overview the first time, suddenly you can maybe see that glycolysis comes first, and then its link reaction. Before you've studied it, you know none of this. Obviously, then you've got Krebs cycle, then you've got oxidative phosphorylation. You've got a broad map. Now you've got somewhere to put the glycolysis information. You've got somewhere to put the information in here so that you can build it up in layers. There is no such thing as just the one-time learn everything approach. It doesn't work like that, especially for skills. Does that analogy kind of make some sense? Like, you've got to, so that's why it's ideal to watch the video first, build the context, give it your full focus, don't divide your attention so you can really sort of follow what's going on. Then print the template note, write the notes, pausing it when you're writing. And then what should you do after, ideally, what should you do after you've created your notes and you've got your template note done. What's next? I would say that topic isn't quite complete yet. Recall, how will we test our recall? Questions. Boom. You're doing it all for me in the chat today. Again, Videhi, is it Videhi? You just set to panelists your comments, so in the recording, your comments won't show up basically. So if you can change it to panelists attendees. Can I repeat the grid thing? Basically, when you first cover a topic the very first time, you've got all the information is new and you don't know the relative importance of different things. You don't know the sequence of things. Literally, it's like, oh, this is my first experience of this. Like the first time you go to a place, it's like, wow, everything's new. The smells, the colors, the streets, the people. And then the more you go back, the more familiar it gets, the more repeats you do, the more you can place things into a context that makes them easier to remember. You're creating a map, and then you can go back and pick these things and put them into their contextual place so that it's easier to remember. Okay. What would you want to do once you're inside the content guide? It's going to look like this. So you've got your lessons, all of the lessons laid out here. Let's say we've got the polymers of carbohydrates here. This is all the content guide. You can see it's the content guide because you've got 3 green buttons and you've got the gray button, which is actually going to change color, which is this will take you to the exam guide. So if you don't have an exam guide subscription, that button is not going to be hugely useful to you. If you do have the ultimate guide, then you're going to have both courses. You're going to be able to go and immediately, so we're in the polymers of carbohydrates and carbohydrates and lipids. If you want the individual notes template, it's there. Also, if you get stuck, you can ask me a question. So this is another feature I didn't really touch upon in the last session I just did. Like this is kind of what makes us fairly unique. Every single content guide, every single exam question in the exam guide, if you get stuck, you can upload a picture of your workings, of the question, a screenshot, and I can help you with it. The best way to use this is to obviously choose the video on which, so polymers of carbohydrate, if your question's about transcription, don't ask me on this video. It's no use to you, or it's no use to any other student coming back. You've also got all of the previous questions on this topic. In fact, this one's got so many, you can go all the way back and you can see all the common questions that students have asked me. In some cases, I've made a video reply. So you can choose this video reply here and you can see. So if you've got a question, it's sometimes really hard to type an answer. So I'll then basically record a lesson on my iPad, a short answer to your question, and it will explain the answer to your question. So it's super, super flexible. When you've got a question, sometimes I get a student who just says, I don't know, I don't get this. What can I do as a teacher with that information? Like nothing, basically. Like, in fact, I'm just going to stop sharing now. I wonder if I can show you. I just want to check that I'm not sharing. Where's a good example? Every question is checked by me before it goes public. I can't really find any nice examples here. Okay, so here's a question from Ben. I think I can show you any of this. These are just unpublished questions. There's no email addresses. There's just names on this page. Yeah, I can show you this. So this is what I see when you submit a question. The question doesn't go public until I hit approve, basically. So these will come into me. These are, I've answered questions. My most recent question was 18 hours ago. We've answered 28,000 questions on our course so far. Is a fatty acid a polysaccharide? Is a question here. And why is a triglyceride a monomer made up of smaller units? So I'm going to be able to basically go and answer these questions individually on a daily basis. Monday to Friday, I do it daily. On the weekends, I don't tend to do it. So try not to ask me a question on Friday night because you won't get an answer till Monday evening. So you'll get an individual reply from me if I'm away on holiday or something, then you'll get an examiner or a highly qualified teacher to do that. So basically, you can, if you find that there's a comment that you want to throw extra detail onto, maybe you've done a really good exercise in class, you feel free to comment on other people's comments. But again, your comment won't go public until I've approved it. So ask me the questions. Ideally, read the other comments first. Don't just send me a question and say, how do you do this? Print the question, try and answer it, take a photo, send it to me and say, this is how far I got stuck on here and I don't know what to write. I don't know what the question is asking me. Then I can actually teach you, the individual. Saying, I don't get this, what am I going to do? I'm just going to teach it again from first principles. That doesn't help me. Show me that you've done some work. The more you put into that comments feature, the more I can give you back. All the replies are individual, and yeah, it's super duper useful. Okay, next question was how to use the exam guide and how the exam guide is different. So let's say we're in the content guide over here. We know we're in the content guide because we've got the 3 green buttons and 1 gray button. I'm about to show you what the exam guide is. Okay, so the content guide, is going to tell us up here which course we're in, but we've got 3 green buttons and 1 gray button, and the gray button takes you to, this is where you register for live classes, this is where you view it. So again, I was in the carbohydrates and lipids section, so I'm now in the carbohydrates and lipids part. Now I've got 3 gray buttons, 1 green button, and I'm in the exam guide over here. So you can move seamlessly between the two if you've got both courses. They are two separate courses. Okay, so you can now see all the questions that I've done and where they came from here on the page. So previously we were looking at polymers of carbohydrates, that previous video in the content guide. So let's look at a polymers of carbohydrates question. You can instantly find questions on this. This is an OCR paper, but you can see here, question 19 part A is not relevant for AQA students. So you can see, okay, I can't do 19A because this is an OCR paper. There's 3 videos here. There is 3 videos for every single question of every single A-level paper for A-level biology, except the 2019 papers, which I'm not allowed to release yet. I don't have the copies of the 2019, so send them through to me, please, if you do have them. What is what do you think would be I'm going to actually flip this the other way around. What do you think is the wrong way to use the exam guide? This is me. Okay, well, maybe I'll just show you because maybe just seeing that text doesn't make much sense to you. Let's just mute myself here. Okay, so this is, let's actually go to the beginning of the question. You have the intro. It's probably going to be a bit laggy playing via screen share. Okay, so you've got the analysis of the video, and I go through. This is the question analysis video. As you see me go through this, I'm not writing any of the answers, but I'm highlighting all the command words and all of the quality of written communication marks, and basically I'm opening out the question so that it makes it easier for you to see and understand. I just totally hit the wrong button there. Let's not come out there. The question response video is obviously the same question, but that's me answering it with commentary. Why am I doing this words? What am I doing differently each time? And then the third video is the mark scheme video, where I mark my answer. I tell you where I got it right. I tell you where I got it wrong. I tell you why the mark scheme is that way. I tell you how to connect what the question was to the answer. Okay, so the wrong way to use this: watching the videos, not attempting the question first, just looking at the answer and not how we get there. Correct, just copying my answer. These are all terrible uses of the exam guide. What you should do, the correct way to use it, you'll see the question paper here. So you've got the question paper, you know that it's question 19. It tells you up here that it's question 19. So you can download the paper and you can attempt the question first. Always, always, always with A-level biology, from now until your exam, closed book. Don't do questions with your notes open, with the videos open. What you're going to be tested on in the exam is closed book. I'd much rather you do it closed book and you get half marks than doing it with your textbook, with the notes, with the content guide, and you get full marks. I mean, what's the value in that? It's no good. So attempt it yourself first. If you can't do it, or you need a bit of help, the question analysis video is the one that you need. I'm just going to refresh this page so I get the thumbnails back again. So the question analysis video, by all means, watch that, teach yourself how I'm deducing what's going on the page, and then check the mark scheme video. The least useful one of these is the response. Like, watching me do it sometimes is really valuable if you don't understand how I've gone from the question to the answer. That can be useful, but the most useful videos here, the question analysis and the mark scheme. Yeah, so you've got to learn the content first. So content guide, template notes, learn the content, jump into the exam guide, find a question on that topic. We've sorted everything by topic, everything by past paper, super duper easy to find. Do a question on that topic and test yourself. See how you do. Ideally, just test yourself straight off the bat. If you don't want to test yourself straight off the bat, then what you can do is use the question analysis video, have a go. And if you still can't do it, then maybe go back to the content guide and learn some more of the content and then come back over here. Okay, what have we got in the chat? I'll just open up YouTube as well. I'll stop my screen sharing so I don't go crazy. Your video lessons feel like a revision session, Rama? I have courses for AQA, OCR, and EdXL. They're the courses that I have. Okay. Would you have to enroll in the exam guide separately as the content guide? Yeah, that's the ultimate guide is the name for both of them together. Again, I can show you on the website just quickly if you're not sure about what the differences are. Where's Google Chrome gone? Yeah, so you guys are mostly year 13. It's cheaper if you're year 12. And again, if you're year 13, you don't need to buy both courses at once. You can just buy the year 13 course that includes all the AS content, all the A-level content. So you've got the ultimate guide is both the content guide and the exam guide together. The content guide is all of the content and just the content that I showed you. And the exam guide is just the exam guide, just the exam technique and stuff like that. The ultimate guide is both of them together. So they're the options. And if you do more than one subject, you can choose them more than one subjects down there. Just to clear that one up. Where do I make a template note? I don't understand your question, Raseb. Where do I make a template note like in a piece of paper? I'd recommend printing the template notes, or you can obviously just copy them yourself. There's not a huge amount of information on those pages. It's designed for you to write all the important information down yourself. What if you enrolled on one of the courses? Then you just have access to the one course you have. If you're just in the exam guide, you just get the exam guide. If you're in the content guide and you only have the content guide, you have that. If you have both, then you can move between them and use both. Totally up to you. This time of year, you're mostly going to be using the content guide. If you've got the exam guide, then you should be building in that exam paper practice, because remember, 2/3 of the exam is the AO2, AO3 application. Like it's really important you start that early. If you just buy the exam guide at the end of May and think, oh, I'll do all my exam technique in a month, then it's skills. You're going to have to do loops and do repetition and do practicing to get that into your system. You can't learn that in a week. Okay, so I'll take some questions now because I've been generally kind of ignoring the questions. I will in fact just share my notes on here just before If you've got any questions, I'll just... Okay, so this is my advice on using the exam guide or your exam or your past papers. Attempt all the questions closed book. There's no basically value in doing them open book. Watch the question analysis video to give you some clues, and watch the mark scheme video for accurate marking. You should be really harsh on yourself when you're marking past papers. Do not just watch the response video and assume that you're watching me do it and that's teaching you something. That's teaching you nothing, basically, just watching me do that. We've covered this one already. My live classes are going to start next week, my proper live classes. And if you want to join me, then you can use the Try TT free coupon to jump into the courses. Any one of those courses you can buy from the site using the Try TT free coupon and try it out for a month. Okay, so questions. Topic of next week's live class, AS content. Actually, let me just check because I'm publishing it tomorrow into the course with the registration links. But I'm just pulling up my planning document right now, so I'll tell you that. I think it's carbohydrates and lipids for year 1 students, and I think it's photosynthesis. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong tab. Proteins and enzymes is my first lesson, and photosynthesis for year 13 students, or both if you want to join. My proper live classes, I'm going to give you a playlist of videos to watch in advance and to take notes on. I'm going to give you a set of questions to attempt. This is a new set of questions to attempt before the class. And then in the live class, we are going to unpick those questions and do a live questions of unpicking the exam questions that we've done in advance to that session. So I'm not going to teach you any content from first principles. That's what the content guide is there to do. And then you got the questions to attempt, and then we're going to unpick those questions and find anything you found difficult. I'll explain them and explain them live. So it'll be exam technique and content all rolled into one. Yes, Rakil, I am going to update the live classes tab. So both in the content guide and in the exam guide, both of them will include the live classes. Again, I can show you inside. I'm in the exam guide. I've got the 3 gray buttons and the 1 green button. It tells me I'm in the exam guide. It doesn't matter where that is. You've got your live classes, or you can just, one of these buttons here on all the pages will take you to the live class registration page. So you can click on that and it will take you to I'm going to update this page on all of the courses this week. So you can see the schedule of my plan, when you're going to have a break from web classes. This is where you'll access the recordings of all the previous live classes. It will all be updated on this page by the end of the week. The playlist of videos, it'll come to this page on Saturday. It will all be obvious. If you miss a live class, you watch the recording. Very simple. It's all recorded. So one of the recordings, you'll get the video of me saying this. Good question, Yassine. If you've already got the content guide and want to buy the exam guide, do I get the ultimate guide even though it contains both? I'd buy the ultimate guide, contact Travis via the website, buy the ultimate guide, and he will cancel the content guide, and then you've got both together. It's much easier than having a content guide and exam guide. If you buy them both separately, it costs more. So it's best to buy the ultimate guide, and then if you've only, like if your month has just started or whatever, then we'll refund you for that month. Or if you'll wait to the end of the month and then just buy the ultimate guide and end the content guide subscription. So you just swap over basically. So that's definitely the best. Same if you want multiple subjects. It's much better to use the Try-TT coupon. If you want to do biology and chemistry, buy the biology and chemistry package because it's cheaper. Because if you buy biology content guide singularly, it's free with a Try-TT coupon, then the exam guide singularly, and then the chemistry, you'll have 4 separate subscriptions. If you forget to cancel or if you choose to continue, you're going to have to mess around with all your subscriptions, it's going to cost you more money. So just think about the course that would be most valuable to you, that's got all the stuff. Try that one out, and then you can always change at the end of the month if you want to as well. Grassstep says the ultimate guide costs so much per month. Do you know how many? I don't think you can understand how much teacher time goes into answering your questions, and like there is so much. It's tutoring. You got the full support of me as a teacher. Like it's not a static course. The thing that makes us different is that we support you with your learning journey throughout. If you want a video textbook, that's not what we do. We do like real exam blended content that teaches you exam technique and the content at the same time. We answer your questions, we give you live classes. Like there's so much time that goes into it. It is incredible value. Like most students who are paying for a tutor will be paying, I don't know, 30 to 50 pounds an hour. And this is less than that per month. And in my opinion, it's more effective, it's easier to use, and it's just better quality. Thanks for Kill. Yeah, there'll be some competitions throughout the year. I don't have any planned right now. But I mean, you've got right now, just try it for a month. Use it. There's no better testimonial than yourself. Use it for a month. Use it hard. What I'm trying to say is that it's best if you can keep coming back to it, like, and use it. I understand it won't be affordable for everyone, but what I've done here is make my previous teaching, I was over £100 per hour for me as a tutor. What I've done is make myself exponentially more affordable to many, many more students. Okay, what's the questions? Give me your questions. Can I answer the respiration question? If you can't, okay, what is the respiration question? About the level of detail that you need to know for respiration? The general answer to that I'm going to give always is the video that I've put together is the level of detail, and then go to the exam guide, check it out for free, and go and do the questions. If you're finding massive holes of information that's not in the content guide, tell me. But I know you're not going to, because I've done it. I don't know how many past papers I've done, thousands. I know what's in the exams because I've done so many of them, and I built my course based upon what's in the exam, not what's in the textbook, not what's anywhere else, not what the opinion of the teacher is. It's based what's in the exam, what do you need to know, what goes in the content guide. So the question is, explain why the incomplete breakdown of glucose in anaerobic produces less ATP than aerobic respiration. Basically, you produce lactate if you're a human, or you'll produce ethanol if you're a yeast or a plant, and this molecule contains chemical energy, but you're not breaking down that chemical energy. Glucose, you completely respire glucose and you end up with CO2, one carbon atom in carbon dioxide. You're breaking down a 6-carbon molecule and you're breaking it down. You're getting energy every time you break it down. You're breaking those bonds, you're getting energy out of it. So the more of those carbon bonds that you can break, the more energy you get out. So if your end product is lactate, how many carbon atoms has lactate got? How many carbon atoms has ethanol got? Anyone know the answer to these questions? Lactate has 3 carbon atoms, ethanol has 2 carbon atoms. So you've got all this, that's the waste product that gets shipped out. So it's like leaving half of the cake uneaten. Like, of course you're not going to get as much. There's less oxidation, basically, is the reason. But that's the answer. Can you please explain why the incomplete breakdown of glucose? Okay, yeah, I've just done that one. When is the deadline for the monthly? The Tri-TT free coupon is expiring on October 13th at midnight. So yes, if you were to subscribe on October 12th, you could unsubscribe on November 12th and you wouldn't pay a penny. I mean, I would do it today because you're going to miss October 12th. You're going to miss my live classes. I would suggest you do it if you want maximum efficiency. My live class is next Thursday, so I would subscribe next Thursday morning. Register for, in fact, Wednesday, because you need to register 24 hours in advance for the live classes. So Wednesday, register for the live, join the course, register for the live class, then you join my first 4 live classes, and then unsubscribe or whatever. the topic of the chloroplast, your teacher was going through the thylakoid lumen and inner membrane of the chloroplast. Do you need to know that? No. Quite simply, you do not. You need to know that. Let me just pull up the YouTube chat, see if there's got any questions over there. Okay. No, you don't need to know. The lumen of, I mean, they're discs. Your thylakoid is a disc. It's mostly the membrane, which is important because that's where the light-dependent reactions take place. There's a space inside it, which is called the lumen, which is the same as the space inside your alimentary canal, inside your capillaries, your blood vessels. Lumen means the inside space, basically. You don't need to know. You don't need to know about the lumen. The question that you might get asked is, what's the adaptive advantage of the thylakoid being stacked as grana? Why would you have many thylakoids? Anyone know the answer to that? Increase the surface area. For what reaction, if it's a 2-mark question? To increase, again, photosynthesis. The surface area for the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis would get you the mark. There was a question I was stuck on. Can I send it to you? Of course. As soon as you have a subscription, I answer your questions. That's what I do. That's what I spend most of my week doing, is answering your questions. Any other questions anywhere else? Is there a lot of human biology in the AQA spec? No, exclusively human biology, very little. Mammalian biology, kidney, immune system. There's nothing that's strictly human in the AQA spec. The OCRB and the EdXLB specs go into more human biology. Yeah, immunology is tough. If you get all the AO1 questions correct in the A-level paper and some AO2 questions, can you get an A on average? Definitely not. The AO1 content is 35%. You're going to need 50% to get an A. So you're going to need more than the AO1 content and a little bit of AO2 content for sure. Just quickly, can I ask, there's a specific number of videos I should cover a day, considering the fact that I'm in homeschooled? Okay, Alina, what you're going to find really useful is our live class plan. Basically, there's going to be 20 live classes between now and the end of March. And for each live class, I'm going to give you a playlist of videos to watch and a set of questions to do. So if you're watching those classes, taking notes, and ideally, if you're homeschooled, you want to be doing a little bit of extra using the exam guide and testing yourself on the side. But you follow the live classes, take notes, make sure that you're and just taking notes without understanding it. If you come to a topic that you don't understand, ask me questions, number one. Number two, go Googling, go have a look around, go see if you can fill in that gap. Maybe I've explained something in a way it doesn't quite click for you. That's fine too. Obviously, come to the live class and ask me your questions in the live class each week. I'd come to the AS and the A-level live class. It's going to work out to be 8 videos a week, 1 a day probably, maybe 10 a week, 1.5 a day-ish to complete the course by Feb. If you're starting now, obviously, if you're watching this video and it's the 5th of May, you've got less than a month to your exams, then you're going to have to step that up considerably. But it will be, yeah, I'll update the live classes course content by Friday. So on Saturday, check that. You'll see the playlist of videos. I'm just playing around with the formatting of how I want it to look for next week. It's difficult. The editor that we use is not very user-friendly. You basically have to be able to custom code. I'm not a coder, and I'm working with a developer to build something that looks nice and is functional for you guys. And next questions, any other questions about subscriptions, about the course, how to use it, how to engage with it? What would you say this step-by-step to get you from an A to an A star, Amina? Okay, great question. Recapping the year 12 content is marks, AQA split their exams. Paper 1 is year 12 content, paper 2 is year 13 content, and paper 3 is a mixture of both. The marks on paper 1 are consistently lower than on paper 2 because students just don't spend time to go back and recap year 12 content. So the biggest gains, the lowest hanging fruit, is keeping your year 1 content knowledge up to date. Come to my year 12 live classes. They're year 12 content, but they're not for year 12 students. They're for everyone. Maybe I should call them the everyone lessons and then the year 13 lessons. Practice deliberate practice of the skills that you need. So deliberate practice of the math skills, deliberate practice of the practical skills, deliberate practice of the stats, deliberate practice of the command words, the suggest questions, the analyze and interpret, how to do the graph analysis, what to do when you get questions you don't understand very well, how to analyze text, how to analyze data tables, like doing an hour's revision session on each of those, and specifically not just doing it when it comes up and then not making it, not sort of making the connection. Spend a revision session working on each of those things. Other top tips would be, once you've done a past paper, focus on the things you don't know. Let me just show you my paper. I don't know if any of you see my exam guide, but I have, in fact, I've got all my previously answered A-level papers, and I'm just doing this is the AS paper I filmed yesterday, finished filming yesterday. So, okay, so this is a good example. I don't know whether this is going to quite show up. Okay, so this is me at the end of every question. I summarize how many marks did I get on that question and how many marks did I drop. The -2 in green shows you I dropped 2 marks. So for every question I've done that, what your mindset should be if you're going for top grades is not where did I get the marks on the exam, where did I lose the marks on the exam, and then that's your focus. You should be working on the things you don't know if you're going for those top grades, because you're going to know lots of it, most of it. And so that's another skill that you can use. Again, all my exam technique, all my past paper methods, I've been doing this for years. And this is the most effective, most effective way I have found to teach it. I keep getting low scores in biology because I never understand the questions. Okay, so again, this is something you can practice. The exam guide is exactly for that, Ruhab. Watch the analysis video, and you've got to learn probably the biggest skill, understanding what the A-level biology questions want you to do. So that analysis video, question analysis, I'm going to read the question and I'm going to verbalize what's going on in my head and how I know what the answer is, because I've done thousands of them. To recap the year 12 content, would you say that doing exam questions first would be more beneficial than going over notes? Definitely yes. If you're revising, revisiting, revision, then start with the question. If you get 5 out of 6, good job. Do another question on a different topic, or a similar question on the same topic. If you get 1 out of 6 or 2 out of 6, then you mark it red using the traffic light system. You go back to the content guide, and that's exactly the method you should be using. If you're recovering old content, test yourself first. If the test goes well, move on to something else. If the test goes badly, go back to the notes, go back to the theory, go back to the content guide, relearn it, recap it, refresh it, rewrite your notes, add to it. So perfect. How do you go from a CD to an A star? Doable. Start now. You can't go from a D to an A star in a month. It will take work and practice. Doing the right work as well. It's not hard work alone. Just pounding notes and writing reams and reams of textbooks and just like pure hard work without doing the right work isn't your best friend. You'll get frustrated because you won't see improvements. Using the past papers, because ultimately, what does A-level biology test you on? What does it actually examine? It's a decent proxy for how good you are as a biology student, but really it tests you how good are you at the A-level biology exam. That's what it tells you. How good are you at the exam? It doesn't matter how much work you've done in the build-up, how much you understand it. If you can't get the marks on the exam, you will not get the grade that you want. Practicing the exam is essential and should not be left as an afterthought. 2/3 of the exam is application. So you want to be using my methods, even if you don't use my course, to be practicing this from the very beginning. I'd say the exam guide, Ruhab, if it's really the questions, then the exam guide is, or the ultimate guide, so you can mix between the content and the exam, is going to be the where you'll see the biggest gains. You've got a month, try them out, go nuts, fill your cart. Is it okay to use past paper questions from other exam boards? Yes, it is. I have selected the ones that are most relevant in the exam guide for you. Broadly speaking, they are very similar. There are detailed differences. The mark schemes will vary slightly. Yeah, it is. As I said to my year 12 students, when you get to the crunch time, so February, March, April, May, you want to be using the TT method. And we're actually going to be introducing that early this year, before February. The TT method is, for your exam board, do the past paper, closed book time conditions. Will take you, let's say, 2 hours. The exam lengths vary a bit, 2 hours. Take a break, mark it, probably at least an hour to mark it properly. Use my exam guide to show you how to mark it. Analyze it. After you've marked it, you're then looking at all those negative numbers, all the -2s. Which questions did you do badly on, and why did you do badly? Was it that you didn't know the content? Probably the primary reason. Didn't know the content. Okay, you can go back and learn immunology. You can go back and learn contrology and expression again. Did you know the content, but did you misunderstand the question and you wrote the wrong thing? Did you understand the content, but you didn't use the right words to get the marks on the exam? These are technique issues, not content knowledge issues. So the analysis of the paper will tell you, where did you go wrong? Where did you, every single mark you dropped, why did you drop that mark? Now, this is one paper, remember. This is taking you 2 hours to do the paper, an hour and a half mark it, maybe 45 minutes to analyze it. So we're at like 3 hours now, probably. Now you're going to go away and you're going to work on your 3 problem areas. That might be content, that might be technique, that might be graph skills, that might be math skills, that might be question understanding. You're going to go and work away on your 3 problem areas, at least an hour each, an action hour each. So that's an additional 3 hours. So we're now 6 hours for that paper. Then you're going to repeat the same paper again after taking a 24 to 48 hour break. So that's another 2 hours to do the paper, and another hour to mark it, and another hour to analyze it. So that you're looking at 10 hours minimum per paper to do it well. And if you're still not improved, you do the same again. You go back and find your weaknesses. They might be different weaknesses. They might be the same weaknesses. So you've got a minimum of 10 hours per paper. You've got paper 1, paper 2, paper 3 from 2015, 2017, 2018, and you'll have 2019 by Easter. So that's 4 times 3. That's 12 papers. That's 120 hours of past paper practice for the A-level papers for your exam board, which is a lot. Once you've done that 120 hours and you are pretty much spot on perfect with all of those papers, then you can look at the other exam board papers and use the exam guide, because I've filtered them. I've showed you which parts are relevant, which bits are not relevant. Did I show you the OCR question and it says this question 19A is not relevant to you? It's a 10-hour process per paper, minimum, maybe more. So you've got lots of past paper practice ahead of you, and you've got more than 120 hours to do that in between now and then. Quick question to the YouTube, Darshan. Yeah, the TT chemistry course covers all the TT courses. A new spec, tell you everything you need to know for the exam. All of them. Which past papers you use? Well, you're going to do all of them by the time you do your exam. I would start with the 2018 papers. Right now, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. Obviously, you can't really do paper 3 just yet because you haven't finished all the content. So paper 1's is all the AS content for AQA, and for OCI Excel, it's the AS content and then the early modules of year 13 content. Okay, that was a long answer to you, Amina, but did that answer your question? Yes, you can, but don't do it until you've exhausted your exam board's papers. Should you just revise the AS content to do the AS papers? Do the AS papers when you find your mistakes, when you find your problem topics. Go back to so start with testing yourself. If you're revising content, then go back and do the content learning if you need to. There's no point relearning content if you're already getting 80% on those questions. 80% is a stonkingly strong A star. I get on the papers, those of you who have seen my exam guide videos, I do the papers closed book. I don't cheat when I'm doing them. It means I make mistakes. I'm not giving you what the mark scheme says in my own handwriting. I'm giving you what my brain says is the answer. Then I check it with the mark scheme to see how well I did. Sometimes I get, on the odd question, I get less than half marks. On average per paper, I get between 80 and 90% of the raw marks. It's very difficult. I've been doing this professionally for years and I don't get full marks. Nowhere close to 95%. Have I got exam by videos for 2019 exams? I will have them, but the schools, they're not publicly released until April, end of March, early April. So we're not allowed to publish them. I actually haven't seen the 2019 exams yet. So if you have PDF copies of the 2019 A-level AS papers, please contact us and send them to me. Write me a note on the course. Tell me that you've got them and we can arrange. I need to get a copy of them. I've got teacher friends that will send them to me, but I've actually got access. I probably do have access to them somewhere. I just don't have a copy on myself yet. I will be filming them, but they won't be publicly available until the end of March. How do you get better at a skill? How do you get better at driving? You practice it, and you do deliberate practice. You don't just like aimlessly cruise through a paper and see, I didn't do very well on this one. Like, you've got to be like, where did I go wrong? And how can I find similar questions to that? And then do 3 similar questions on the back. Boom, boom, boom. 3 graph analysis questions with multiple scale graphs on, because they're difficult. People get them wrong all the time. So practice. There's simply practice. I can't help you, Ruhab. Like, if you don't want to wait, you want to wait until the 12th of October to use the coupon, but you want to revise, you want to use it now. Like, I'm giving you a month for free to use it and test it. I suggest you use it and test it now, and if you find it that valuable, you can pay for a subscription. It's like, fair's fair. Like, I can't give it to people for free because I have staff to pay. I have myself to pay, even though my salary is nowhere near what it should be. How does the refund work? There's 2 refunds that we offer. If you buy the course, obviously if the free coupon, you're not paying anything, but if you buy the course in the first 7 days, if you're unhappy with the course, if it's not what you thought it was, if it doesn't do what you think it's going to do, if you're not happy with anything at all, then you contact us and we give you a 7-day satisfaction guarantee refund. We end your subscription, we give you your money back and say, thanks for trying it, better luck somewhere else. I think last year, I'd have to get the numbers. Last academic year, I think there were less than 10. If you buy the course, watch 50 hours of video content, and then in the first 6 days, and on the 7th day you say, I didn't find it very useful, we look at your data and we'll say, I don't believe you. But if you just use it a little bit, use it for a couple of days and let us know. If you're unhappy, we give you a refund. The other money back guarantee is for students with the ultimate guide only. Then if you complete 90% of the content guide videos and you don't go up a grade, so when you join the course, we send you a form, we ask for some evidence, what grade are you working at right now? If you're roughly at a C, then we'll guarantee you'll get a B or higher in your final exam. And if you don't, you send us a photo of your results slip on results day, or in fact, the closing date for last year's is the 31st of September, I think. So final few days, if that happened to you last year, check out the money back guarantee page on the website for all the details. Then we give you a refund in October. That's how it works. You have to be on the ultimate guide. You have to let us know what your starting grade is. Obviously, if you just don't if you choose not to fill in the form, then we don't know what your starting grade is. I'm not gullible enough to say, take your word for it. Sadly, the world doesn't quite work as honestly as that, as it should do. Yeah, and you've got to do the work, right? I'd like to see you want to take notes. You want to use the course. If you use the course, it will improve your grade. Literally thousands, probably even now tens of thousands of students have done that. I think there were, I don't know how many, I'll get the data because I don't want to tell you incorrect data. I think there was like 180 applications this year from thousands and thousands of students for the money back guarantee. Can you use the videos if I do A-level biology and chemistry OCRA? 100%, they are written for the OCRA specs, so they are perfect for you. Darshan, get inside the course and ask Rich that question. And ideally, take a screenshot or the exam reference and the question number, send Rich the question if you think it's missing, and he will answer your question. Rich is the chemistry Rich, there's biology me and chemistry Rich. If you ever find a question and you think there's content that's required for the answer that's not in the course, we'll either update the course or we'll maybe say, maybe it's an old spec question, it's not in there anymore, but send the question through. We are super responsive. You can ask us questions on any of those videos. You can send us whatever information you want. You can communicate with your tutor directly every single day of the week, 24/7. Do we do any workshops? Interesting question, Patrick. We are going to do some workshops this year. They will be during the Easter holidays, so quite early. They're going to be small groups. So they're not going to be massive like lecture theatre style stuff. Workshop will be in person, turn up on the day in the same room as me or Rich or Ronnie, looking at how to prepare for the exam. Don't ask me anymore. We haven't set the dates. We haven't set the prices. We haven't set anything, but there will be some live in-person workshops for you to join if you want to in Easter. So what if I use it for a month and do a mock at school and don't improve a grade? Like the improved grade is for you use it for the year, and your final grade is the only thing that counts. I don't give a toss what you get in your mocks. I care what you get in your final exam. That is how the improved grade money back guarantee works. Any other questions? On YouTube, I was like, is this my full-time job? I do this 60 to 70 hours a week is how many hours I spend doing this. It is 100% my full-time job. I run the company and I teach all the biology and run all the biology courses, answer all the biology questions myself, in response to everything, any questions that you have. Any other questions? I see RAS7 Rehab. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, the courses are incredible value for what they give you. I there will at some point be some promotions and stuff to get people into the course to share it with people who don't know about it. I don't know when they are. I don't know what they're going to be. I literally haven't planned them yet. Like I can say, if you genuinely can't afford it, then we have a Karma Academy scholarship for students who can't afford the course. So check that out. We also give thousands of scholarships away to school students, and so get your teachers to apply for the course. Like there are other ways you can go about doing this, but there's basically not going to be any major discounts at any point. The prices are the prices. I can't afford to pay the teachers to answer the comments and to run those courses for less than they are. There is so much teacher time involved in them that it's just not a thing. Yeah, practical skills. I've moved them to the top of the course now, the practical skills. I can show you if you want. Well, okay, I'm just gonna find Zoom again because it's disappeared. And I'm gonna share this browser. Okay, so I'm in the content, I'm in the exam guide here. Yeah, so just looking at the exam guide. So if I want to go over to, well, there's the exam questions on the practical skills here, and the math skills here is all in the menu at the side here. If you're on a mobile, you have to push a button to be able to see this. You can go to, let's say, the course overview page, but you can see all the sections here. The AS practical skills, or the first year practical skills, and the A-level practicals. If you're a year 12 student, you'll only have the AS content. Year 13 students get access to everything. So you'll obviously see here the AS practical skills. It will scroll you down, and then you've got all the lessons that relate to it here. So you've got the practical skills, the math skills, the stat skills, then all the AS topics, and then you've got all the A-level topics. And these are where I put my video comment replies down the bottom there. You have the past paper library. You've got this hour version. Students will often ask, like, how do I find a lesson? And so we've produced these documents that is the specification, but it shows you which videos teach you which spec points. So again, this is the AQA version. I'm just showing you this. You've got basically, this is a hyperlink. It will take you to the lesson for each of these things. And then below each video, you also have the spec for everything you need to know according to the exam board from there, and then the video that covers that content. Anyone can try the courses for free right now. And again, if you've just joined the YouTube live stream a bit late, then it's using the Try TT free coupon. Go to the free trial page on Tailored Tutors, and you'll Tailored Tutors /free-trial. You will find how you can use it for free. Adam says you're doing OCR biology, AQA chemistry. And if I finish all these papers, does TT filter out the exam papers and questions that be relevant to my exam board? Yes. So do you want me to show you that as well? I'm basically just freestyle answering your questions here. Like if you feel like you're bored and you need to go somewhere, then feel free to do that. Okay, so again, I'm in the content guide here. You want to know in the exam guide, Adam. So let's jump to the lipids and carbohydrates section of the exam guide by clicking this lovely button, which is going to take you straight there. Okay, this is the AQA course, right? Okay, so I'm demonstrating for AQA biology, but this would be the same, but obviously different videos, different everything if you're in the OCR course. What was the one I did before? I did this one before. This is the polymers of carbohydrates. This is an OCR question paper here. So this is an OCR paper you can download. We're actually going to swap this out for our curated past paper, which is, I can explain what they are in another time if you want. But this will tell you, question 19A is not relevant for AQA students? Obviously, because this is an OCR paper. Does that answer your question, Adam? So these are all relevant to you in here. What I'm also going to show you is the curated past papers that we've made. I'll just download one. Where are they? Sorry, I was just reading the chat there. This is my curated past paper. I'll demonstrate for OCR. Why not? For EdXL students, for OCR students. I'll demonstrate with another exam board for once, just to make it fair. I mean, the demo is like, I'll just download it so I can see. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, it's the Laymark scheme I've done and not the question paper. Would help, wouldn't it? Let's see if there's actually anything in OCR and cover a greater range of detail. So, one gene, many polypeptides, although it's given to you in the question step. Okay, so like here, I'll share my screen. So I've downloaded here this is a curated paper. This is an EdXL paper, but it's curated for OCR students. So you're an OCR student and you want to use the EdXL past papers. Well, basically you can use these papers and you can have a go at all these questions, and these are all fine for you to do. How do you know that? Because they're not blocked out. But eventually you're going to get to, so most of this paper is relevant. Look at this, nearly everything here is relevant, but you're going to then get to, this is, EdXL do a different equation for the index of diversity. So this question, although you could do it using this formula, would not be the same as what you would do in the OCR exam. So this paper has been filtered for OCR students to be able to do. Again, you've got this bit here. So our curated papers are just the papers, but we've looked at an EdXL paper in the eyes of an OCR student and told you which questions you can't do or shouldn't be able to do because it's not on your spec or a different emphasis to your spec. Thanks, Raquel. Kind of tired of answering pricing questions. The prices are the prices. Apply for a scholarship. Get your school on board to do Brainia. They are the ways you can get the course totally free. So the mark scheme for this paper would still be the edit. If it's an EdXL paper, it's still the EdXL mark scheme because the answers to that question need to be written by that exam board, but it just tells you which questions just not to attempt. Why do I email to cancel the content guide and subscribe to the ultimate guide? Can you just unpack that question a bit, Yassine? I will answer it for sure. Thanks, Adam. The price is fair. I started Tailored Tutors. I started it as a teacher on my own. There's no big corporation behind this. There's no massive profit margins going on. Like, I'm not scraping off the barrel and just like doing no work and letting the course do itself. Like, I give my heart and my soul, and our teachers work incredibly hard to help you guys and support you with all aspects of A levels. Like, yeah, I don't know anywhere else that's like run by the teachers, basically. I mean, who do I email? Oh, I see. I read it as why. Okay, who do you email? Contact us via the website. The easiest thing to do, you can just start an Ultimate Guide subscription if you want to, and just email Travis. But the contact form I can show you. Where's the website? Okay, so this is, so you could go contact and info, contact us on the website. Yeah, as I said, I would use your own exam board papers, TT method, 10 hours per paper. Do it, mark it, analyze it, go and work on the things you got wrong. Do it, mark it, analyze it. If you've improved, then move on to the next paper. If you haven't improved, do it again. Go find your problem areas and then do that. If you want to use the other exam board papers, we get asked for it all the time. We've created them. It took, you know how many hours it takes to go through a paper and think through which bits are relevant to which spec? It's incredibly time consuming. Like those papers took hundreds of hours to build, and they're just like one of the downloads you get with the course. So if you want to choose here, so upgrade or change, you can choose this one here. I'd like to add a course, fill in your details, put your Ultimate Guide email address in here, your Academy email address, say, hey, Travis, I currently have the content guide. I'd like to switch to the Ultimate Guide. Maybe tell me when my payment date is so I can swap at the right time. If you want to find your payment date, actually, you can go to your course overview page. Any of the subjects have got a course overview page. Then you've got your My Account button here. You can achieve the same thing by going to manage subscriptions. It will take you to the same place, and it will tell you what subscriptions you have active, what the renewal date is, all that kind of stuff. I don't have any active subscriptions right now because I'm the admin of the course, but that will tell. So if you want to just, you could do this yourself manually by ending your content guide subscription on the day that it ends, or do it the day before it's due to run out, to be honest with you, at least a day, because sometimes it's billed automatically. It's usually done at midnight on the dot. So if you wait and you wake up in the morning, it's probably already billed you for that day because it did it at midnight. So do it at least the day before. If you unsubscribe, if your renewal date is the 15th of the month, if you unsubscribe on the 10th of the month, you will keep, you don't get chucked out of the course immediately. You will keep access to the course until that month has expired, and then it will remove you from the course. So you can unsubscribe at any time. It's better that you do that beforehand rather than afterwards, because otherwise you'll get billed and then you have to contact us. We have to send you a refund. We don't like it. You don't like it. Nobody likes it. Unsubscribe before 29 days. Okay, I'm going to wrap things up here. I've gone on way too long. Scholarship is on the website. It's called the Karma Academy. Contact Travis via the contact form if you want more details, but check out the website first because the FAQ will have all the information you need there. 100% you can switch. If you can't afford the both, you can do the content guide for a month. You could switch at the end of the month, do the exam guide for a month. You could do the content guide until Feb and then switch from the content guide onto the exam guide. Probably at the end of the year, if your content knowledge is hopefully really strong by April, you might not need the content guide anymore. You might just need the exam guide because you're just doing the past paper, the application, and all that kind of stuff. You've got all your TT notes because you've made all your tailored tutors notes. You've got everything there that you need. You can still ask me questions inside the exam guide. If you're in the exam guide saying, can you reteach me transcription? I'm going to say, no, use the content guide. If you say, I've done this question and I don't understand why I've put this and it doesn't give me the mark, that's what I'll answer in there. You can switch between them whenever you want on a monthly basis. You can't just do half a month of this and half a month of this, or today on this one and today on that one. But month by month, you can move between your subscriptions. You can do as you wish. Let's mix and match. Monthly subscriptions, they're flexible. Please remember to end your subscriptions. Lots of our year 12 students buy the year 13 course because they want to get ahead, would you believe? Well done them for doing that. But that means we can't just end all our year 13 subscriptions when the exams are over because all those year 12 students still need them. So you have to end your own subscription. Again, we will send you multiple emails. I think so far this year, we've sent 4 emails before the end of the exams. 2 before the end of the exams, I think, and then 2 after one the day after paper 3, and then 1 a month after that. I think maybe you've done 5. But email is the primary point of contact because that's your account unique ID. So it's your responsibility to check your emails, make sure they're not going to junk, do that for yourself. Karma Academy is the name of the scholarship. Yep, read the details there. When will the syndicate be ready? We are meeting, Rich, Ronnie and I are meeting to discuss what we want the syndicate to be soon, next week, I think, if I remember correctly. So yeah, the syndicate will be basically you opting in to come to do what in the meantime, watch the lessons I tell you to watch before the live class, do the questions I tell you to do before the live class, turn up to the live class and ask me questions about the things you didn't understand from the questions. That is essentially what it's going to be. We will then take responsibility for looping and spiraling and making sure the content doesn't go flat and making sure you are up to speed and finish the content by March. So you've got March, April, May, and a bit of June for your exam technique and your application. Will be teaching you the TT method throughout the year so you are the best prepared you can possibly be in the least amount of stress for the exam. Syndicate is basically going to be an optional thing you can opt into for me to like coach you what you should be doing this week. My advice on what to do this week is watch these videos, answer these questions, join the live class. That's basically it, but we'll jazz it up a little bit. It's more or less what it's going to be. It's like, no, it's not mandatory. You can obviously use the course however you want, but if you want my suggestion of what to do each week, then that's where that information will be. Rasib, you shouldn't be stressed about A-levels because you're doing this now. You've got 8 months, 10 months. You've got, if you were at this point and it was end of April, stress time. You've got quite a lot of time to get everything in order. But constant little bits, or like a month of hard work, take a couple of weeks to chill out. Month of hard work, a couple of weeks to chill out. That's fine. But if you're starting it now, not if you're starting that in May, because you're going to be up shit creek with 0 paddles. I promise you, eventually, it's going to make some sense to you. The exam technique is like a cryptic crossword to begin with. Like it is impenetrable. Get your content knowledge tight. Anyone can do that. It takes time. It's lots of facts. It's lots of study. Once you've got your content knowledge solid on a topic, then you can start to understand the questions using the exam guide. Okay, I'm going to go. Most of you have got well and truly bored of me by now. Any other final questions? Any other final comments? I'll take a quick look at YouTube. I'm just going to go the Lucy, any A-level multi-mark scheme is all you can say. Thanks, Darshan, for saying it's well worth it. Darshan, seriously, find a question, do the chemistry, try the TT free. So you've got the chemistry and biology and maths, whatever subjects you want for the month. And if you think that there's a question that isn't covered, then screenshot it, take a photo, send it across to us in the comments, and we can show that. We can show you either that it does, or if we're missing something, we'll put it in there. I promise you. Yeah, just ask me away. Right, and now I am going to go drink a coffee. That's what I'm going to go do, but it's nearly 1 o'clock in where I am in the world. Right. And then I've got to film some more AS papers. Oh, never ending my workload. I'm currently filming all the AS papers for the exam guide. It takes me about 6 to 8 hours to film a paper because I have to do it. I give the commentary. I do 3 videos per question. I then have to analyze it, do my exam report. It's basically a work day, and I'm doing that on top of a full-time work schedule. Try not to stress as much as you can. Like, just try and break it down into small pieces and learn the content, test yourself on the questions, figure out when you've got things wrong. Where did you go wrong? Was it the understanding of the question? Was it the content knowledge? Was it the skill? Then go away and work on those things. You find the content guide soothing. Well, great, because it's going to teach you the course as quickly and as efficiently and as concisely and as effectively as I can do. Fab. Thank you all for joining. And yeah, any other questions? If you'd like a general sort of Q&A about the Tailored Tutors courses, if you'd like to do like a virtual tour, a bit like this, but probably a bit shorter, like once a month or something like that, might be more useful for people who don't have the courses than the people who are using it already, because it's pretty intuitive once you're using it and you're inside. Then that's something that we can quite easily arrange. So let us know in the comments, in the chat. Okay, I mean, if you are on YouTube, hit the bell and subscribe so that you get notifications. We go live once in a while. It's kind of random some of the time. So if you don't want to miss out on those, follow the YouTube channel and hit the bell, because we do little teasers and tasters and A-level biology, chemistry, and maths help on there as well. Mondays at 6 o'clock, we do a Monday check-in throughout the year, basically just approaching different topics around A-level students and exams and revision and practice and UCAS and all those kinds of stuff. So love to you all. Adios, ciao, auf Wiedersehen. Until next time, Thursday next week for my first proper, real, live A-level biology session inside the course. Anyone can sign up using the TryTT free coupon and register for the class. Next week, you'll have to register 24 hours in advance, because if you don't have a TT subscription, even you can have a free subscription with the TryTT coupon, but if you're not registered, you don't come in. So use the same email address as you use for your Tailored Tutors account, and we'll manually check every single one of you. If you've got an account, we send you the invite link. If you don't have an account with us, or you've put a typo in your email address, you're not coming. So be careful. See you then.